only difference was, if you're rich, you got private education. The peasants didn't have it, so therefore you're illiterate. Major revolution. And that's when society thought, content's important. It's no longer about just even thinking. School system has to change. Almost 70% of preschools are owned by individual people.
Hello and thank you for joining us on this episode of Beyond The Boardroom, a series where we get to know more about companies listed on the Singapore Exchange and their key appointment holders. I'm Natalie Ong, Equity Analyst with CGS International, and with me is CEO of CGSI Singapore, Mr. Malcolm Khoo. In this episode, we turn the spotlight on MindChamps. With a market share of 38%, MindChamps has the lion's share of the Singapore premium preschool market. We are super delighted to have with us today Mr. David Chiem, founder and CEO of MindChamps. So David, in a nutshell, what is the MindChamps ecosystem about?
Society used to think that to even read and write, you have to have a certain IQ. But that's not true. The only difference was, if you're rich, you got private education. The peasants didn't have it, so therefore you're illiterate. Therefore you're not as smart. But that's not true. The brain is amazing. Yeah, every child's brain is so amazing. So Industrial Revolution came when we had machines, tools, and factories. Society said, to be competitive economically, you need to prepare your people to compete globally. It's not just about laborers. You got to have content. You got to be able to read and write and have knowledge. So that's when school system was formed. That's the first, in a way, movement. Yeah. And at that time, content was everything. If you couldn't read and write, you can't even have content. So it's about drilling in content. The more I have content, the more I am educated. True? So that was due to the Industrial Revolution. The next major revolution came in the 20th century. What do you think that might be? In fact, what's another major invention?
The internet.
The internet, yeah. That's right, the internet. And in fact, prior to the internet, there was the invention of the computers. True? So computers, internet, search engine, 20th century, major revolution. And that's when society thought, content's important, but we now need to nurture thinking. That's when there's a thinking curriculum in the school system. At MindChamps, when we were forming in 98, we saw that 21st century is coming. What we needed to do was create a new revolution, which is why we've been hailed as the new revolution of education. And we realized that it's no longer about content. It's no longer about just even thinking. In fact, AI can beat the world's #1 chess player. We realized that the 21st century is about mindset. So you have content, thinking, now it's about mindset. So our entire philosophy, which was mentioned earlier, was based on how do we nurture the mindset, but not just one academic mindset, but 3 minds, which is why we penned a book, The 3-Mind Revolution. And it's talking about nurturing the champion, the creative, and the learning mind. And in the 21st century, in the world of AI, that is everything. The champion mindset is the transferable commodity, not the skill. And he even used the term commodity. 21st century is no longer just about commodities of oil and gas and all that. The most valuable commodity is actually the champion mindset. That's what differentiates. Then for school system has to change. And that's when we realize that it's got to start from young. It's not about university. The mindset of the child starts from young. You can't take a student who's already 21 years old and say, switch on, I want you to be a champion now. Doesn't work that way. I want you to be creative now. That's not how the mind works. You've got to nurture that, literally lay those foundations in the first 6 years.
So David, MindChamps is known for delivering top-notch quality childhood education. Some say it's super premium, some say it's worth every cent. So can you tell us a little bit more about what parents are getting and what goes into the thought process behind the pricing model?
So if you look at our history, 98 was when we established as a research team in Sydney. We brought it to Singapore around the year 2002, after piloting some of our research. And then we piloted and tested it until 2008, we set up our first preschool. That's what really differentiates us, the deep research and program development. And thirdly, regardless of your years of qualification or background, You could have taught for somebody in 20 years. You've got a PhD, masters. But when you come to the MindChamps way, you still must go through mandatory training of up to about 200 hours of training.
Wow.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. And that's what really differentiates what we do. So I've always said, well, everyone's saying the same thing. Everybody says, we've got curriculum. The question is, what is the latest research that supports that? In the first 6 years of the waking hours of their life, they're going to be with us more than they're with mom and dad. That's the responsibility. So we said, we can't be just doing what everyone else is doing. So much so that we're the only group in our space to now where major global universities are partnering with us to research our programs and collaborate in ongoing research. Secondly, to even patent the approach. And thirdly, to train the teachers. One of our years, we had 98% rated excellent and good. When we say that kind of stuff, it's not just about marketing. At the time, KPMG to verify those results. So that it's not just about marketing.
I think fundamentally, you are actually reinvesting, a lot of the school fees in excellent training for the teachers, 200 hours. I think the second point is also on research. So the school fees that, the parents pay, actually get reinvested in their child. Because anyway, as the teachers get better, they have more tools, the child is the beneficiary.
Yeah.
So I think it's binary, why the surveys that you have done to score very highly with parents. I think, again, whether it's super premium or value for money, it's for the parents to decide. But, again, on a comparative study, again, the reinvestment is significant. And, do hope that many parents will appreciate a lot of this reinvestment that the company has done.
From everything that we do, and we invest in making sure that every day that child is receiving the absolute best that we know of. Now, it's our duty. If we know that that is the absolute best, we make sure that every child has that. What makes one person thrive and fold, or one company thrive and fold, one leader thrive and fold, is about the mindset. That is why it's so critical to prepare our children to have that. That's why we're very big on, making sure that it's deep.
So can you tell us a little bit about, the operations in these two markets? How do they differ, and some of the challenges and opportunities that you see?
Okay. Look, Australia and Singapore. Ultimately, currently we have operations right in both. Both have its own opportunities and challenges. In fact, the mindset of the parents in both places are quite different. In Singapore, parents' mindset is preschool is education and it's critical. Yes. Okay. So during COVID, as soon as the lockdown was, government allow preschool to open again, next day, all our champs are back. Right? Yes, because parents don't want to miss out on the quality education. Okay? In Australia, however, slightly different mindset. Okay? Preschool over there is a bit more in the category of babysitting. I gotta go to work, someone's gotta look after my kid. So the mindset of the markets are quite different in that way. But having said that, and the younger couples today are really realizing that, wow, there's so much more to this. If I don't get preschool right, primary school is a challenge, especially in the world where my child's mind is engaged by so many things. If a kid doesn't love reading by 6 years old, it's going to be tough to get a kid to love reading by 7, 8, truly. And by that stage, it's I hate reading. This is more engaging, this stuff. So nurturing that, is most critical now. And so look, we're very big on making sure that obviously we actually share with the parents deeply in both markets.
And David, any new markets that's interesting for MindChamps?
Okay, yes. As you know, when we announced our, patent to the world at SGX, it was patented in 3 major territories.
US, UK, and Australia.
That's it, yeah. Yes. So therefore, you now know that we're ready in Australia. Next is US. So we're deeply prepared now for our launch into the US throughout, the whole US. So that's one major market. Then there are other, obviously, territories like India as well. You already know we're already in the other Southeast Asian countries. But India and even Japan, Korea are 2 other markets. But one major focus now will be US.
Is the US market, very fragmented, for preschool?
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the stats are similar, yeah, whether it's here, US or Australia. And, about almost 70% of preschools are owned by individual people. Yeah. And of the 70%, 50% of the 7% are owned by people who own just one center. Yeah, mama and papa, people who are, want to open up a center. Okay. So it's pretty hard for them to do research or even training. So from our perspective, it's about how can we really bring what we say. We've been spending 25 years working on the software. The hardware is there, but how do we bring our software to these territories, and especially US, through our franchise system? I'm not sure if you know, but we actually took, in one of the years we took, I think it was 2013, we took Franchisor of the Year amongst all franchise brands of Singapore. And that was to prepare ourselves. We were very clear through our franchise engine, especially in the US, Australia, and UK, the people will own the hardware. But what they'll need is world cutting edge software. Research, curriculum and training ongoing.
Maybe let's talk about the centers that are directly managed by MindChamps, versus the ones that are franchisees. Is there a difference?
Yeah.
And how do you ensure that they are similar in terms of quality, in terms of offering?
Great question. In fact, in Singapore, I can share the stats are that over 70% of the franchise centers are actually owned by MindChamps parents.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fact. Yeah. And in fact, some of them go on to own second and third centers, which is wonderful because when a parent of MindChamps has seen the, firsthand the experience of their own child's development, then they're passionate to even quit their corporate job and then set up their own center. Wow, that's an amazing brand ambassador who actually is passionate about, wanting to bring quality. And one of the reasons why they do so is because we're very stringent. And that is, you own the center. However, the software is all controlled by HQ. Every single teacher, principal is trained by HQ. Accredited, not just trained, but accredited by HQ, regardless of whatever center in any country of the world. They all must be trained by HQ and accredited by us.
So thank you so much, David and Malcolm. And that is it for this episode of Beyond the Boardroom. Stay tuned for more exclusive interviews and behind-the-scene insights.